Hey hyenas, and welcome back to your number one place for funny news on the internet. I'm your host Sumito Media, and 4chan is dead. More specifically, 4chan the website seems to have been hacked, and as a result has been what is probably temporarily taken down for the time being. But still, the phrase 4chan is dead isn't exactly completely inaccurate. In fact, if you've been paying attention at all, 4chan has been dead for quite a while. What used to be a mainstream, relatively well-known image board on the internet, one that would be referenced by mainstream news articles whenever anybody was associated with it, as if it made them a supervillain, and the powerhouse for memes and funny green text on the internet, hasn't exactly been any of those things for quite a few years now. Wojaks, Pepe the Frog, copy pastas, green texts. I mean, looking back at the 400-something videos I've made talking about memes and internet news, it's tough to take a look at anything that we've talked about without it having some sort of relation to its origin on 4chan, but the reality is that the vast majority of the ones you know so well are from like a decade ago at this point. The last time that anything's come out of 4chan that's been of note has been like a single Wojak here and there, but it is far from the powerhouse of mainstream internet culture that it used to be, and as a result, the fact that the website has been hacked and a bunch of the administrative emails have been leaked to reveal the fact that a lot of people have emails ending in .gov or .edu, proving the whole theory that everybody had that 4chan has mostly been moderated by the feds in order to keep a close eye on what they thought was the epicenter of the internet, making some of the most hilarious and dangerous characters to reach mainstream news, hasn't really been that for quite a while now. 4chan in its heyday was this image board that was more or less moderated. I won't say unmoderated, but it was very much the place you went to share your thoughts anonymously and without consequence, and as a result, it became the breeding ground for everybody who wanted to share ideas and make posts that wouldn't necessarily fly if they had to have a username tied to it, and as a result, it became the go-to place for all of these individuals to come and share those ideas, for better or for worse. Obviously, over the course of years, as more and more people have done terrible things that have reached mainstream news and subsequently have had some sort of relation to posting or being a member on a 4chan board in one way or another, the website has unmistakably been subjugated to more concentrated moderation. It has been less and less allowed for you to just say whatever is on your mind. And as a result, it has gone from what used to be known as sort of like the lawless wasteland outskirts of the internet to basically just slightly more edgy Reddit. So 4chan gets hacked. Nicely summarized by one user on Reddit by the name of MonkeyDo123, he explains that the website was hacked by the Soyjak Party, evidently a group of members that used to be a part of a board on 4chan known as /QA, that's question and answer, that ultimately devolved into a Soyjak factory, as he puts it, and after a raid on /LGBT back in 2021, I imagine this wasn't a kind-worded raid, as following this raid, the board was banned in its entirety back in 2021. According to this user, it was probably a better idea to give more extreme individuals a place to discuss their chaos rather than banning them and not being able to track them whatsoever, as we can now see, given that the Soyjak Party has now hacked 4chan. And it's pretty obvious why. It's clearly in retaliation for having their favorite board banned, given that following the hack, the only real thing that the users did was reopen the /QA board. The final post on 4chan before this happened was Steve from Minecraft screaming chicken jockey, by the way. This individual goes on to quote who he claims is the individual who did the hacking, who explained that the way they went about it was just uploading a PDF file, or what 4chan thought was a PDF file, but doesn't actually check if it is a PDF file, and instead is a PostScript file containing PostScript drawing commands that can be uploaded, converted into GhostScript, and evidently the version of GhostScript that 4chan uses is like an outdated 2012 version, and I don't understand what half of these words mean, but evidently it's relatively easy to grant yourself super user ID, and then mainstream access at an administrative level, and now the entire website has to be taken down, because if they don't shut down the website, they can just keep doing this until these vulnerabilities are patched. Currently, the email addresses of administrators and janitors, that is like low-level moderators is what they're called on 4chan, are currently being released on the internet, on Discord, and other forums. People are being doxxed as a result because a lot of their email addresses are just first name, last name @.edu, and so generally speaking, a relatively bad thing. But this happened just yesterday, so we don't actually have any long-term consequences of this just yet. We'll see if anything happens or if 4chan comes back online once this is all said and done. But I think the reality is that the max exodus of 4chan users has already happened now that the website isn't exactly the go-to place for memes and green text like it used to be a decade ago. But this now confirming that the moderators of the website are very much like government officials or like people who are keeping a much closer eye on more extreme users on the website, this is probably going to be the nail in the coffin that even if 4chan does find a way to take all of its outdated PHP and web coding and put it into a more secure infrastructure, I don't really see anybody using 4chan going forward, but we'll see. Anyway, 4chan gets hacked, and the last post of it was a reference to the Minecraft movie. Let's talk about the Minecraft movie, shall we? You guys remember my video last week talking about my experience going to see it. I didn't realize that my experience was so tame, despite the fact that it was the first movie I saw with everybody screaming chicken jockey. Well, I mean, I don't know how many other movies have chicken jockeys in it, but you get the idea. Since then, this entire cumulative experience of shouting stuff and going crazy during the Minecraft movie has exploded. A number of other incidents where people have gone crazy during the chicken jockey scene in the Minecraft movie have gone viral. There have been numerous posts online about theaters making a point to state to not do anything crazy, throw your popcorn, throw a drink, or scream and otherwise ruin other people's theater experience of what is ultimately a masterful piece of cinema, you know what I mean? One particular clip, however, has gone a little bit more viral than most of the others, and it is a group of individuals who not only got so excited during the chicken jockey incident that they started setting off confetti cannons and throwing what must have been $50,000 worth of popcorn during the scene. But actually, one individual by the name of Chucko Mode on TikTok shows his entire process of sneaking a live chicken into the movie theater for the purpose of having a live chicken as he rode his friend in chicken jockey fashion during the scene where they scream chicken jockey. It's kind of nuts.
Last night, I made the mistake of going to see the Minecraft movie on $5 Tuesday movie night in a college town. And I knew it was going to be a little bit crazy. You know, I've been online and seen the memes. We didn't even make it 15 minutes into the movie before the manager came out, paused the movie, and told everyone to shut up or else he's sending everyone home. When that scene came on, it felt like a bomb was gonna go off. Everyone stands up, 30 phone flashlights turn on, you can tell they're getting ready. The crate comes, drops the baby zombie on the chicken, the whole theater screams chicken jockey, okay? Confetti shoots everywhere, popcorn thrown everywhere, goodbye $30. And I kid you not, guys, I'm not making this up. Some dude got on his friend's shoulders and held up in the air an alive chicken, an adult chicken. Where'd you even get that? The manager came out instantly, turned off the movie, told everyone, get out of here, no refunds. I didn't even get to see the last 30 minutes of the movie. I don't know how it ends.
I'm sure some people have questions. How was anybody able to even acquire a live chicken if it wasn't your own? How did you manage to sneak a live chicken into a movie theater, and what in God's name happened to the chicken afterwards? I would explain these things to you, but I don't have to, because the man himself explained it on his own, now deleted, Instagram reel.
Okay, it was me. You might have seen this viral video of the chicken jockey incident, as we call it. Someone brought a real chicken into the Minecraft movie. Here it is. Here's me with the chicken. And here's proof. It's me beforehand. First of all, everyone's wondering how I brought the chicken in. I put it in my jacket and held it under my arms and just walked in. They didn't stop me. We got like 50 of our friends, got the Minecraft meal from McDonald's beforehand, of course. Then I sat on my friend's shoulders, and when Chicken Jockey came, everything went crazy. Of course, there are haters, but there's so many news sources that posted this thing, like New York Times, Forbes, IGN. People are wondering where we got it. We got it from a farm. Everyone's crying, what happened to the chicken? Well, we left it there to prank the security guard for a little bit, and then we gave it back to a farm. On Twitter, Popeyes said that they'll take the chicken, so Popeyes, reach out to me, I'll give you the chicken. And what I did was perfectly legal too. They never asked me to leave beforehand, so I wasn't trespassing, and we didn't vandalize anything because it wasn't any permanent damage. Everyone's complaining, oh, it's a real chicken, he was probably so scared. There's 206 million chickens a day that are killed. Okay, this chicken lived. We gave it back. Honestly, if you ask me, this chicken had the best life a chicken can ever have. How many chickens can say they saw the Minecraft movie?
Now, first of all, legendary meme, right? This is one of the stupidest and funniest continuations of what should otherwise just be a C-tier movie that nobody really cares about and is instead turned into a bit of an internet phenomenon. The fact that this dude goes on in his Instagram reel that he's now deleted because it probably incriminates him to some degree, because the entire issue with this is that it is funny. And there is an entire culture of like, movies are dying, right? Everybody's just watching stuff at home and streaming it. Anything to get people into theaters is probably good for the movie industry to some degree. So the fact that people are getting excited about what is ultimately just a kid's movie is something to be, celebrated to a degree. But the reality is that if it gets to the point where they're basically ruining theaters, you're taking minimum wage theater employees that now have to clean the entirety of a movie in like less than 15 minutes. And generally speaking, making extra work for other people for the sake of having a funny TikTok is just loser behavior, as it were. A lot of people have also been complaining about the entire incident of like sticking a chicken in a backpack, hiding it under your jacket, and then ultimately putting a ton of stress on a bird that definitely is in an environment that it doesn't belong. And I get that, and I really don't even want to speak against that, because this is kind of a dick move. If you did this with any other animal, it'd be like, bro, you're stressing, what are you doing? It's not even yours. And again, I don't want to condone people bringing live animals into places that they shouldn't be, especially if you're stuffing them under your jacket for the sake of this. But a chicken did get to see the Minecraft movie in theaters, and I cannot emphasize this enough. This is loser behavior, and don't do it, but that's kinda cool. I do think this individual just kind of being dismissive of chickens at the end of his Instagram reel because he's like, listen, we eat millions of them, so who cares about this one, is especially cringe. I mean, I understand that he is like on top of the world at the moment, probably the most viral sensation of anything that's happened in the last 12 minutes as far as the internet is concerned. But the reality is like, you can't just steal a live chicken and then take it away from its home and then put it through the equivalent of a traumatic experience. I don't know if the chicken enjoyed the movie. I'm under the impression that it was hiding in your jacket for the vast majority of it. And according to that first TikToker, it didn't even get to see the end of the movie where they make it to Mordor. Don't steal farm animals for the sake of a meme on the internet. That's basically my point here. I don't want to get preachy, but the reality is, like, if you want to show the Minecraft movie to a chicken, just rent out the theater. You can bring in the chicken if you want to. What are they going to care? But, like, this whole hiding under your jacket, running around, leaving it in front of a security guard, if it runs away, who cares? It's not my chicken. We kill 1 million of them every day. Punch it in the face, why don't you? Again, loser behavior. Funny meme, but loser behavior. Speaking of loser behavior, VTubers, am I right? We've recently gotten word that Gawr Gura has decided to graduate from HoloLive, which is a sentence I'm sure none of you guys understand. Gawr Gura is the shark VTuber, whose face you might know as she is one of the largest VTubers in HoloLive, which is one of the largest companies that sort of runs VTubers. These people have their own voices and their characters, but HoloLive is the company that sort of manages and produces all these things. They're the ones who own the intellectual property of the VTuber model, their character, and to my understanding, they're the ones who sort of set up their own Minecraft servers and their debuts when they do music and all this stuff. All the promotion and all the management and handling is done by HoloLive. And Gawr Gura graduating from HoloLive is the terminology they use when the person, the voice actor, the actress behind the model, the singing, the speaking, and everything, moves away from the company. And Gawr Gura announced in a live stream that she did on her YouTube channel that she would be graduating from HoloLive. Her streams over the last few years have become less and less. My understanding is that the company that owns HoloLive, or HoloLive themselves, has effectively gone public, and as a result, they're making more and more movements to try to become more profitable. And according to Gawr Gura, there are disagreements with management that have led to her deciding to graduate, which basically means that, to our understanding, they basically want more out of her. They want her to do more streams, more this and that, and she's not about it, and as a result is now stepping away from the company, which owns the Gawr Gura character. That whole shark VTuber that you know, the voice behind it is no longer going to be that character, so that character is basically gone, and Gawr Gura is now going to do what they call, or might do what they call, an indie VTuber, which is basically a VTuber that isn't managed by one of these bigger companies, and more than likely will do the streams that she likes, but on her own dime and with her own authority. But unfortunately, this means with her own character, since she can't be the shark girl anymore. It has been long speculated, maybe not so speculated, that Senzawa, the voice behind that Belle Delphine music video and the OK Boomer music video, whose voice sounds quite remarkably similar to Gawr Gura, the shark VTuber, after tweeting a picture of a fish just before Gawr Gura made that announcement. Everybody's sort of under the impression that Gawr Gura is more than likely stepping away from Hololive and might, if we're lucky, go indie and start being the Senzawa character, or maybe go by her name. I don't know what she's going to do going forward. But it's a whole thing. And with Gawr Gura being one of the largest personalities in the VTubing space, it's kind of a big deal for a lot of, you can kind of see the memes that people are making behind me. It's kind of a big deal. Hololive has had the better part of like half a dozen graduations, as it were, over the course of the last year. And so this is just emblematic and a symptom of a large company going public and trying to put profits first, and as a result sort of destroying the environment that led to their success in the first place. I understand a lot of people will brush this off as just VTuber news. I don't watch VTubers, who cares? But if you watch YouTube videos and you like watching people like me, recognize that the creator space is a relatively large one, and anything that is considered anti-creator, anything that limits people's ability to be able to turn this into a career, or even to even express their art form, whether it be VTuber or music, video essay, or shitty internet talk show talking about Katy Perry making it to space and what have you, anything that harms that in a way that is anti-artist is very saddening. And it means that somebody who put a lot of time and effort into making this character that everybody loves is now going to have to step away from it, not because she wants to or it's the right thing to do, but simply because from the way that she describes it, it's just a thing of management demanding more out of her or demanding something she doesn't want to do. And now that VTuber's just gone. Rest assured, if a big company came to me and decided to make the Sumito Media character something different than what it was, I would absolutely say no, unless they paid me more than $1,000, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. As for you guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of another episode. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed watching it, and like the video, it helps a ton. A big thank you to the patrons scrolling in the back. Thank you so much for keeping this show running, and I will catch you guys later this week, probably. Peace.